All right, today we are diving into something that feels like it's straight out of the future. It's a new AI that's not just making little video clips, no, it's trying to be an entire film crew all packed into one model. It's called LTX-Video, and believe me, it has the potential to completely flip the script on how we create content. So let's get right into it.
Just stop and think about this for a second. Seriously, what if you could have a director, a cinematographer, a sound designer, a Foley artist, and a composer all bundled into a single piece of software? It sounds like science fiction, right? Well, that's the massive idea behind the model we're exploring today. So just how powerful is this thing? Look, we are not just talking about silent, grainy clips. LTX Video generates the video, the dialogue, the sound effects, and even the music, all at once. But here's the real kicker, the part that changes everything. It's open source and totally free to use. On top of all that, it packs in some seriously advanced video-to-video controls and has HD upscaling built right in, which means getting high-quality results is way more efficient.
Now, LTX Video is already making huge waves, and that's because this isn't some tech demo locked away in a lab. The awesome team behind ComfyUI has already integrated it. That means you can literally download workflows and start making stuff with it right now. It's out there in the wild, ready for you to use.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around what makes LTX Video so special, we've got to look under the hood. There are basically two core ideas that power this whole thing. If you can grasp these two concepts, everything else is going to click right into place. So the magic really comes down to two pillars. First, you've got two-stage sampling. The best way to think about this is like a sketch and paint process. Stage 1 quickly draws a low-resolution sketch of the video. Then, Stage 2 comes in and intelligently paints over it, adding all the fine details to create the final HD version. The second secret is its dual pipelines. This means the model works on the video and the audio on two separate tracks at the exact same time, and then it perfectly merges them together into one seamless, synchronized scene.
Okay, so now that we know the how, let's get to the fun part. What can this thing actually do? We'll start with the most straightforward way to create, spinning up entire scenes from just a handful of words. And this, of course, is text to video. The idea is simple, right? You write a description. But the execution here is just on another level. You give it a prompt, and the AI builds an entire audio-visual world from scratch, based only on that text. And this first example is just wow. The prompt was for a researcher pressing a big red button that sets off some device. The AI didn't just create the visual, it composed background music, it added the sound effect of the button click, and it even had the characters speak the chilling line, "May they forgive us." It created a whole cinematic beat from a single sentence. Here's another one that really zeroes in on emotional delivery. The prompt was super specific, asking for a whisper, a sad look, and exact dialogue, and the model nailed it. It generated a character that looks genuinely sad, whispers, "I miss you," and then follows it up with the next line. The performance, the audio, it's all perfectly synced to the feeling of the prompt. So, building on that, we can go from text to video to image to video. Now, you're not starting with a blank canvas anymore. Instead, you give it a still image you like, and then you use text to tell it what to do, bringing that static picture to life with movement, sound, and even dialogue. So how does that work? Well, it's pretty brilliant, actually. You load your image, and you write your prompt for the action. The AI then basically injects all the visual info from your picture into the video's core blueprint, what the pros call the latent space. And from there, that two-stage sketch and paint process we talked about takes over to animate the whole scene. And the results you can get are just wild. This prompt was asking for a lot. A specific look, a huge emotional shift from laughing to serious, and precise dialogue. And the AI just did it. It animated her laugh, the sudden change in her expression, and the line, "It's a secret." The level of control and nuance you can get here is just incredible. All right, now we get to level up. What if you want even more control than just a text prompt? This is where video to video comes into play, and it lets you step into the role of a director for your digital actor. You know, the logic behind all these fancy controls is actually pretty simple and elegant. Just think of that latent space as the AI's initial idea, its starting blueprint. Before it starts creating, you give it a guide video. This could be a 3D depth map or a character skeleton. This guide gets injected right into the blueprint, steering the AI's creation from the very beginning. So you've got a few really powerful tools in your toolbox here. You can use depths to control the 3D space of the scene, which is great for keeping characters from sort of floating around. You can use Canny,
which is basically a simple line drawing to copy an object's exact shape, or, and this is my favorite, you can use pose to make your new character perfectly copy the movements of a person from a completely different video.
Let's just focus on pose control for a second because it's such a perfect example of this directorial power. The AI looks at a source video, it creates this digital skeleton mapping out every movement, and then it uses that exact skeleton to animate a brand new character that you just described in your text prompt. It's amazing.
Now, we should also be realistic here for a moment. The source material is honest about the fact that the model doesn't always create super photorealistic people right out of the box. But this highlights a fantastic pro tip. When one prompt wasn't working, the creator just changed it to a 40-year-old man, and the result was described as dorky and cute. It's a perfect reminder that being a creative prompter is still a super important skill.
So after seeing everything this amazing tool can do, what are the big takeaways? If you want to jump in and become an AI filmmaker, what do you really need to remember? Let's break it down.
It all really comes down to these 3 key ideas. First, always remember the 2-stage process. Sketch first, paint with detail later. Second, never forget the dual pipelines. Audio and video are created together, in harmony. And most importantly, you need to understand latent manipulation. That's your director's chair. That's where you inject your vision, whether it's from a still image or a motion guide. Getting these 3 concepts is the real key to mastering this incredible tool.
And this all brings us to the biggest, most exciting idea of all. LTX-Video is a massive step towards democratizing creativity. When all the technical hurdles of filmmaking practically vanish, when an entire film crew can live inside free software on your computer, well, the question is no longer how we'll create, but what stories we will finally choose to tell.